Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Jeanette with Vival Vintage Designs. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On this channel we learn alcohol ink and watercolor together. Alright, now let's get started. Hi friends, this is another video in which I am delusional by thinking that I can get the inks to do exactly what I want them to do. So I'll start from the beginning. I have this little ceramic plaque that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just showed you the round one that I had previously done. Now I can't always find these plaques. In fact, I've only ever been able to find 2 of them because my Dollar Tree is a bit of a mess. So hopefully you'll have better luck than I with these little plaques. But in my mind, I was going to use alcohol ink markers, and I was going to blow out this beautiful flower. The kind of petals that have the folds, they're my favorite kind of petals to create. And yeah, I decided to use the colors red, purple, and yellow. So here I'm applying the marker to the tile. And I've done this a 100 times and it always works so well. But today, not so much. And you'll see exactly what I mean. It was a disaster. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I like to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. I find it encouraging when I find an artist who shares their failures as often as they do their successes. And for me, turning my failure into a success, I think is encouraging for those who are just starting out with alcohol ink, because it's really hard to control the inks and it can be very discouraging. So I hope that you find this encouraging. So here you see I got my ink down, I put down my pitch black, and now I'm using my alcohol to blow these petals out, and the ink is just not cooperating. I'm even letting the alcohol sit on the ink for a little bit to soften it back up and reactivate it. But it just was not, the inks were just not cooperating. And I'm not sure if it was really the inks or the humidity in my studio, because my studio is in my basement and it's been raining for the past 2 days, I think. And it's always an issue when working with alcohol ink if you have a lot of humidity in the room that you're working in. So here I've sprayed it. That's a good thing about working on tile. You can easily spray it with alcohol, wipe the disaster off, and start again on a clean slate. So now I decided that I'm just going to use the alcohol inks from the bottle and put the markers aside. So I chose Twilight Purple, I think that's the name of the color, and Wild Plum, which is one of my favorites. So I'm adding the pitch black to the center, and I'm using a dirty micro brush. I save the brushes because I reuse them. So I shaped the pitch black, and now I started out by putting the inks side by side and using the alcohol to blow it out, and you can see that wasn't looking so good. So then I said, all right, let me put the ink one on top of the other, one color on top of the other, and blow it out. That didn't work out so well either. I tried putting the ink right on top. I tried putting the ink around it. Not the ink, the alcohol. I tried everything, and I just could not get this to go right. I've done this so many times on tile. I've never ever had an issue like this. So again, I'm not sure if it was just this particular tile or it was the humidity, but I wasn't going to give up. So now I added more pitch black to the center, more than I wanted to, so I made sure to dry it, and then I decided to simply use the Wild Plum. And you can see as I'm blowing it out, it's not moving very freely. I'm getting some crusty, thick lines. That's what leads me to believe that it's the humidity. but I'm going to blow out the wild plum all around the tile. At this point, I'm just trying to deposit more color on the tile. And now I'm using just straight alcohol. And the alcohol I'm using is 99%. You can use 91%, but I don't recommend using anything lower than 91% because there's too much water in it and it just won't work. So you can see now that the ink is moving a little bit better, and I'm getting these really pretty white lines in the petals, which makes it look like the petals are rippled, and I'm liking this much better. And I say this all the time, don't give up on your paintings. If you think it's ruined, you have absolutely nothing to lose by continuing to try different things. You might actually learn something new, and sometimes you end up with something that you never expected and are actually really happy with. So I just kept blowing the alcohol, trying to get more ripples in my petals. And once I was happy with it, I needed to clean the edges because I didn't like the way they looked. So at first I took a paper towel and I added some alcohol. I wrapped the paper towel around my finger, and you can see that I'm running it along the edge. And it feels like all I'm really doing is just smearing the ink and making a mess. So then I remembered that I have alcohol blending pens, and these things are a godsend. If you're an alcohol ink artist, you have to have these. So these particular ones that I have are double-sided, so they have a chiseled side and then they have a pointy, more narrow side. So I'm using the chiseled side, and you can see how easy it is to get that ink off of that tile. And for every run, every pass that I make, I clean off the tip of the marker on my paper towel so that I'm just not smearing the ink, I'm actually removing it. And this was so much easier. And what's great about these blending pens is that they are refillable. All you have to do is pull the nib out and add a few drops of alcohol and put the nib back in. I've had these forever and I've never had to replace them. I've tried other brands that I didn't have much success with because the tip would lose its shape, and I've not had that issue with these, and these are really inexpensive too. So now you can see I have some ink on the side of the tile, but I'll just use a paper towel to remove that. But first I want to create the center of the flower. Now I had to create this center upside down, as though the light was coming from the bottom right-hand corner, because the top left-hand corner, where I usually have the light coming from, was darker. So that had to be the shadow side. And it was really awkward for me to create this center, and at one point I realized just turn the tile upside down and it'll be much easier. But I am so in the moment that I'm not even thinking straight. So you can see that I started dotting in the snow cap. And because I'm adding multiple layers, I'm making sure that I dry in between. And now I'm actually drying the snow cap because it makes it thicker and it makes it show up much better. So you can see I'm adding the highlights, or the concentration of the white dots, at the bottom right-hand corner, and then adding less on the top left-hand corner. And then I decided that I would try and add a little bit of pink to the snow cap and add some pink dots to make it a little bit more cohesive. So what I did was I grabbed another little shot glass and I added a drop of the wild plum, and then I added some more of the snow cap, and just mixed it together. You'll see that in just a moment. And of course I wanted to add one drop, but I got too much in there. So I'm just removing a little bit of it with a paper towel and then adding the snow cap. And I just made a very light pale pink. And then I made sure to dry that too, so it would be a little bit thicker. And I added a few pink dots here and there. And then I'm going to go back and add more white dots as well. And while you watch me do this, I'll remind you that all the products are listed in the description box and pinned in the comments section if you want to take a look. And if you have any questions about any of the techniques that you see me use in this video, please let me know in the comments section. I will always get back to you. Also, please consider joining our Facebook group, Vivo Vintage Design Tutorials, where you can post your versions of the paintings and techniques learned on this channel. And lastly, I have started another YouTube channel. It's called Vivo's Favorites, where I review products that I use regularly and give you my honest opinion on the products. And I'm keeping it very positive. So if you'd like to support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Go take a look at Vivo's Favorites. So now I'm just taking a paper towel around my finger and cleaning up the edges of the tile. Now I did have some parts that stained because this tile is just, I paid $1.25 for it. It's not meant to be painted on. So I did have a couple of stained areas where I couldn't remove the ink. So there is the finished tile. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you find it encouraging that you're not the only one who struggles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.